Live and local talk from the mind behind the Overton Report. It's time for Palmetto Talk Live with your host, Corey Allen. Now, your host, Corey Allen.
All right, guys, here we are. My name's Corey Allen. This is, of course, Palmetto Talk Live, and we have with us State Representative James Teeple. What's up, bud?
Hey, man, good to be here.
Good to see you. How you like the new studio? It's coming together?
Dude, the new digs. It's good.
It's definitely coming together. You know, we ordered some lights to go behind me in all of these things, but they're not showing up. We've ordered some stage lights to kind of set it up, but it's none of that stuff's come in yet. But here we are, man. It's
I think it's an upgrade, to be honest with you.
Well, it's definitely an upgrade in the sense that we can say whatever we want now.
That's true. I like that. I like that.
You know, man. I just before we start, it was really funny yesterday. I have to talk about this. So I go to my nephew's first soccer game. Right, he goes to school in Beaufort, Berkeley County. And he's going to a public school right now, and the coach didn't show up. Just wasn't feeling good. His tummy hurt.
Yeah.
So, on top of that, so we go there. There's no coach, right? And on top of that, there are people playing, kids playing soccer all over, and baseball, all over this complex at this high school in Berkeley, and they're sending these kids, these 8-year-olds, back and forth from place to place. Oh, well, you're supposed to play here. Actually, no, you're not. You're supposed to play over here. So we get to the place where we think they're supposed to play, and this is just the most hilarious thing ever. So their coach isn't there, so I step up. When I was young, I played soccer. So
okay.
And everybody else
I was worried for a minute.
Yeah. Well, you should have been.
Yeah.
So they lose 12-0.
Oh, with you coaching.
With me coaching.
Oh, man.
But it turns out that they were playing kids like 2 grades ahead of them. Because they were...
On purpose, or was it...
No, it was the wrong team.
Oh, my goodness.
Because nobody knew what was going on. And I'm sitting there. I'm just there to watch like the first game of my nephew, And they have no coach. They have nobody there. And there's like 9 kids just, running around with a soccer ball, not knowing anything.
So you were like the U.S. women's soccer team getting beat by a high school team.
Yeah, except
basically.
it was more like we were the U.S. women's soccer team. Yeah, and they were like the NBA.
Yeah, man,
or whatever the
12-0 at soccer. Dang.
Yeah, but the thing is, once you realize that I'm playing with 7 and 8-year-olds, and they have 10 and 11-year-olds.
That's hilarious, dude.
And it didn't even cross my mind till after the game, like almost the game was almost over. I was like, "Hey, man, how old are these kids?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, they're 10 and 11."
You're like, they're so tall.
We are not.
Yeah.
We're not playing the right team. Our team was playing. Our team was supposed to be playing this other team that was over here on the other side, who were also playing 10 and 11.
Oh my goodness,
and getting whooped.
Chaos. I love youth sports. It's just so awesome, man. I've coached Little League for I don't know how many years now, and it's just great. Yeah.
See, it was my first thing. Like I just showed up and there was nobody stepped up, and I was like, okay, come on, guys, let's do some jumping jacks. You know what I mean? It was wild.
Man, that's so funny.
Oh, it was. But anyway, I thought that was, hey, it was definitely a learning experience for them, and they took on some kids that were much bigger than them, and they were not afraid.
That's awesome.
But we did not know that until I was like, dang, man, they've. But then it became clear, like, oh, these guys have been playing for like 2-3 years. They have the fundamentals down.
Yep.
They know that not everybody, because when you're like 7 or 8, everybody is just chasing the ball.
That's it. That's all you do.
But
with baseball too, actually. In T-ball, they all go after it. Even the batter goes after the ball.
Yeah, that's true. Hands it to the. It's fun stuff, man. But I want to talk a little bit about. Well, we had a primary yesterday in the Columbia area, and a couple. Well, Lee Bright won his primary.
Mm-hmm.
He will definitely be the next senator. I think it's 12, but don't quote me on that. Whatever his district is, that's a good conservative.
Yeah, I've heard. I don't know him, but I've heard good things. And these special elections, it's really all about turnout. And I think if I remember right, they only had like 2,000 people or something for the turnout for the whole.
Well, I don't know about the Lee Bright primary, but I know that in the primary for District 88, the state house, less than 1,500 people.
Isn't that insane?
Like 14. Hey, you know what's crazy? Actually, I'm gonna have to check this. I think it was 1,488.
So, and that's the thing a lot of people don't realize is, especially, we see this in off cycle. Obviously, it's lower for off cycle presidential, and then primaries in general have a lower turnout. Mm-hmm. But the thing I tell voters is, like, your voice is so amplified when you look at especially special elections. You've got to get out and have your voice heard.
I mean, if
you have to.
You're thinking, we're talking about Lexington District 88. This is R.J. May, the seat that he resigned. We had 4 people running. We had John Lastinger, Brian Duncan, Lorelei Gray, and Darren Rogers. Now, there will be a runoff. That runoff is November 4th.
Okay.
Which is
same day as a lot of the municipal elections.
Yeah, and the same day as the District 98 election, or I'm sorry, the District 98 primary, which is Chris Murphy's old seat.
Yeah.
But so November 4th is the runoff. But yeah, 1,488 ballots total.
Out of about 45,000 residents.
Is that not insane? How does that
get out
happen,
and vote, man? Got to get out and vote. That's the key to success right there when you look at primaries and special elections. Is having everybody that supports you go through their phone, text everyone, get them to the polls, and it's crazy to me that there's not more engagement with the community, because that's going to be your representative for them for a year before they go up for election again. What sucks for those guys, dude, is they win this, they're right back in campaign mode because they've got the 2-year coming up next year. So no break. That's got to be rough.
No break in campaigning, but at the same time, District 88 is a pretty safe district for Republicans. So do they really? Whoever wins the special election, because again, there is a runoff. We're going to try and have both of those guys on before November 4th. John Lastinger and Brian Duncan. John Lastinger got 40.05% of the vote with 596, and Brian Duncan got 565 votes, which is 37.97% of the total.
Yeah.
They're going to have to have this runoff. Whoever wins that is going to win the general next year as well.
Yes, but they'll probably get primaried. You know what I mean? It's most people do. And the thing about these runoffs is you have this very short window, usually a couple weeks before the election. Yeah. And I would almost rather be the number 2 guy versus the number 1. And we saw this in the sheriff's race in Charleston County. If you are the top, so many people say, well, he's got it. It's going to a runoff, but he had the most.
And they just don't show
vote.
up.
And so oftentimes you see that number 2 guy end up winning.
That's true.
Because those folks are motivated, saying, we got to get him across the finish line. And the voters for the leader get complacent.
It's gonna be an interesting race. We'll know who will be in the and then to top that off, 2 days before Christmas is the general election.
Wow, it's nuts.
So there's gonna be I wouldn't be surprised if there were less people voting in the general election than voted in this primary.
And I do want to remind voters that you do have a lot of municipal elections coming up. I know for the town of Hollywood in my district, that's coming up November 4th. And
For which seats?
it's for Town of Hollywood Town Council.
All the town council? Every
No,
one
there's
of them?
3 seats open.
Okay.
One of them, the one I endorsed, was Brian Groveman. He's a great conservative, awesome guy, and about 400 votes will put you in that seat. So
Is that not crazy?
yeah, the
man?
key is, and I know Brian's been out knocking doors, doing everything he can to pull that off, but yeah, that town needs some new leadership, and I'm hoping that he can come across the finish line ahead for that town council seat.
Beyond that, there's, we've got like I said, the District 98 election for State House. That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
Lee Bright won outright the primary. He'll be the next state senator from up there.
Mount Pleasant mayoral race, I believe,
Yes.
is also in 2 weeks.
And Goose Creek City Council.
Okay.
A lot of crazy stuff going on out there. We won't get into that today, but there's some wild stuff going on. Tomorrow we will have one, potentially two people running for city council in Goose Creek. We'll have them on the show tomorrow, and we'll also have Greg Ford, who's running District 98. He'll be in studio tomorrow
Okay.
as well.
Awesome.
We've had David Johnston on, who's running for District 98. A lot of interesting stuff going on in the State House with Doge SC right now, and it's not in the State House, but the things you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, I met with Rom and his team. Rom heads up SC Doge. Met with them last week. I'm meeting with them again this Friday, and sitting down with those guys, that was the first time that I'd sat with them, and everything they're trying to do, it just amazes me. They're using fantastic AI tools to dive into the 80,000 regulations that we have and see, for one, if they're unconstitutional or aren't tied to statute, ones that are overly burdensome. And I sit on the regs committee, and I'm a chair of a subcommittee on that. And it is awesome to see, people that aren't in politics getting involved, trying to help the state. And I was just amazed by the amount of technology and what they're using to identify these regs that need to go.
Have you taken a look at the proposal that they're making regarding judicial reform? Have you looked at that?
Yeah, so I have, and I got to say I agree with them. So as it stands right now, we in the legislature determine, and we pick judges and vote on them. And I've heard
not you,
first it goes to the
there's a
Judicial
group.
Merit Selection Committee.
and that's
and
where
then it goes up for a vote. But the problem with that is you have attorneys that go before these judges selecting them, and to me that's a conflict of interest.
Well, and beyond that, you also have the leadership of the legislature picking the people who are on the JMSC.
Yeah, that's how it works currently. Yeah.
Right.
So I would like to see that shift to the executive branch, and where they propose candidates and then we confirm. I've heard from some of my colleagues say, well, we don't want to give up that power. And to me, it's, that kind of is off-putting a little bit, because it's not about power. It's about what's right for the state, what's the most fair, what creates the most minimal amount of a conflict of interest or the possibility of such.
Sure.
Or
the perception.
True. And I'm not crazy about elections for judges, because then it becomes, who gives them money, because they have to raise funds.
Yeah.
And you can get into that same thing. And you can't tell me that law firms and different attorneys aren't going to donate heavily to that cause. So you kind of create the same problem. But
I think an even worse problem, actually.
Yeah, but if you give it to the executive branch, there's somebody we can hold accountable.
That's right.
That's the governor.
Mm-hmm.
And, the legislature can confirm them. So, just like we do at the federal level. So it's a change needs to be made for sure. There's a whole slew of problems right now when it comes to judges anyway. I think family court is an absolute disaster.
Yeah.
And we're going to be taking a look at that this year as well. Representative Gatch has a number of bills that'll help solve that problem. And I'm going to be co-sponsoring quite a few of those with him this year. But, yeah, it's a mess. Tort reform has to be looked at again. I know we did bars and restaurants last time, but that will probably be a major topic coming up in January when we go back in session. But lots of work to do, man. A lot of unfinished business.
Yeah, and it seems like for years we've just it's always unfinished business, and nobody has ever really. I don't know, man. It seems like the status quo has been acceptable, or more than acceptable, for a lot of the people. It's amazing what you can do when you change just a few seats over.
That's true, and it goes kind of across the board for what we need to do in our state. Especially, I'm on the SCDOT Modernization Committee. Roads is another one where the status quo hadn't been working for the last 30 years.
Oh, that's for sure.
So, we're taking a hard look at that. I do invite everybody. We're actually having a meeting November 3rd, a public hearing for SCDOT that's going to be in Charleston. It's on my Facebook page, and State Representative James Teeple. And I would encourage, let's fill that room. Let's get all the feedback we can.
That's going to be where in Charleston?
So
do you remember?
Yeah, that one I think is at Trident.
Okay, and do you remember when is this?
This is November 3rd.
November 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay, so the day before the primary.
The day before the primary, so this is going to be like the 8th or 9th one that we've had. We've been having them throughout the state. We have one coming up. I think it's tomorrow, but it's this week in Sumter.
Okay.
So. We've done Myrtle Beach, we've done Greenville, we've done Beaufort, we've done Columbia, we've done, quite a few of these things. But, that committee is going to be at Trident Tech.
Okay.
November 3rd at 5 p.m. That's right down the road, 7,000.
Literally right down the road.
Yeah, so, I encourage everyone to fill that room up. SCDOT will be there. They'll have tons of representatives there from DOT. So you can go and talk about specific problems with them. And then if you want to address the committee about more statewide issues related to DOT, you just sign up to speak and everybody listens. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really crazy. I saw a thing come out where our bridges are the worst in the country.
They're awful.
The worst in the country. That's
30 years. They've delayed maintenance on our roads for 30 years. We have so many hands in the pot with different municipalities. We have 41,000 miles of road. We take care of, as far as a state ranking, the 4th largest road system in the country. Texas and Virginia are ahead of us. Florida's pretty close, and so we've got to do that. We've got to allow concurrent infrastructure. We've got to fund DOT better. They're underfunded by $1 billion a year.
See, I keep hearing that, but it's like if you have a kid and you keep giving them money and they don't do what they're supposed to do with that money, and then they say, "Well, I just don't have enough money." That's where people are right now.
Well, our gas tax, the buying power of our gas tax gone down over 30%.
But what have they done with the money that they have? The worst bridges in the entire United States of America.
No, it's rough, and that's where that 30 years of deferred maintenance comes back to bite you.
But they had, but the thing is, they've been given money. They've been given money, and they've not done anything correctly with it. It seems like.
Yeah. So when you have the 4th largest road system, but the 28th,
another thing that shouldn't exist, right?
Yeah, agreed. So, and I've talked about giving roads back at length, and our gas tax, I think it's either 24th or 28th.
Yeah.
So if you look at that, compare it to the 4th largest system, the whole thing's broken. But we're
fundamentally
we are looking deep diving and looking in ways to modernize that, and I think some great stuff is going to come out of it.
Okay.
The money piece I'm more hesitant on because we have to be good stewards with it. We have a lot of places too locally that will have another tax or a penny tax for roads or whatever, and then they don't bond it.
Mm-hmm.
They wait for the money to come in.
Right, okay.
To pay for the project. And everybody knows inflation happens. And by the time you've got all that money in, it's double the cost.
Yeah.
Same thing happened with the 17 and Main flyover over by my district in 116. You know, it was supposed to be, say, I can't remember what it was exactly at first, but $100 million or something. It's like $300 million now. Bond it. Bond it.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's what I mean when I say, like, it's like if again, to go back to the metaphor of a child, you give your child, let's say you give your child, $2,000 a month, but they're paying the rent for all their friends. You know what I mean? Or they're buying dinners for all their friends. It's like, and now they're like, well, we need more money because we can't afford the baseline stuff of what we're supposed to do. It's like, well, stop wasting it on all of these other things.
So some of the Democratic colleagues just talk about throwing money at the problem, but then you look, they fail to look at do the hard work and look at the, some of the contributing factors. One of them being permitting.
Yeah.
Permitting needs to happen in 30 days. There's permitting where it's taken over 10 years.
I know.
So we've got to streamline the permitting process. Every road project right now gets sued by some of the conservancy groups or groups that are,
of course.
You can call them tree huggers, I guess. But my thought was bring them to the table while we're doing this and say, look, are there little tweaks we can make? Is there anything we can do where you're on board, where we're not going to get sued, where we delay the project by 5 or 10 years?
Right.
And again, the cost doubles. So there are so many little things we can do to streamline that process outside of throwing money at the problem. But if we are going to invest in that more, it needs to be extremely strategic.
And have strings attached.
Exactly. It has to have strings attached. And we need checkpoints to know throughout the processes where we are. We call it, when I go to build a new childcare facility, we have a thing called critical path where we know any little delay, whether it's going to delay the project or not, right?
Right.
And some things do, some things don't, because one system being installed is dependent on another one already being there in that side. So, those are the things we got to look at.
Sure. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go to break, guys. And hey, we're live streaming on YouTube right now. Go to YouTube and search Palmetto Talk Live. Go ahead and subscribe to us there. But yeah, we're going to try this out real
Tired
quick.
of shirts that say nothing?
These are going to be
At
our ads,
ShopTruthTees.com,
and
we say
will,
everything with satire,
catch you guys in a
sarcasm,
minute.
and bold pro-freedom designs that get people talking. And the best part? Every tee, ladies' V-neck, and hoodie are 100% made in the USA. Premium fabric, very comfortable, and unapologetically American. ShopTruthTees.com is a family-owned pro-America business focused on wearable truth. Order now at ShopTruthTees.com. That's ShopTruthTees.com. Use promo code Corey Allen for 15% off.
For nearly 50 years, the Real Estate School of South Carolina has helped launch thousands of real estate careers. Founded by Charles Brown and carried forward by Chip Brown, our legacy continues, now with a fresh look and even more ways to learn. Choose in-person, virtual, or self-paced classes, all with top instructors and the most complete study package anywhere. Visit realestateschoolofsc.com and start your real estate journey today.
Looking for a realtor who gets it done and actually answers her phone? Meet Christy Gore with Realty One Group Coastal. Christy is a Tri-County top producer. She works hard, keeps you informed, and knows the Charleston Tri-County markets inside and out. From Dorchester to Berkeley and everywhere in between, she's helping you buy and sell residential homes with confidence. When other agents let calls go to voicemail, Christy's picking up and already finding your next home. So don't wait. Call 843-998-8250 or go online to christiescoastalhomes.com, where local experience meets real.
Live and local talk from the mind behind the Overton Report. It's time for Palmetto Talk Live with your host, Corey Allen. Now, your host, Corey Allen.
All right, guys, we are back with State Representative James Teeple. And, I know that everybody here really wants an update on on the St. Jude stuff that you've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
First off, your daughter's been cancer free. It's now over 6 months, right? About
4 years. 4 years.
4
cancer-free.
years.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay.
She was. We were in treatment for 8 months.
You were in treatment for
at
okay.
St. Jude in Memphis, and came back, and I started this just this massive movement to try to get St. Jude here. As you know, everybody said no at first, and then
Yeah, of course.
Speaker of the House wrote a letter for me. For the first time, I got past secretary, so I decided to run for office. I found out that I won my election. It was called about midnight that Tuesday.
Right.
And a little before midnight, and the next morning I called St. Jude, and got a meeting with Dr. Neufeld out there, who runs it, and then first week of session I had a hospital meeting in my office in Columbia, and they were on board, and it's been lightning fast since then. But my next update with them is today. And
Okay,
we
this
are,
afternoon?
We
Okay.
are. Oh my gosh, we're so close, man. And I think about it all day, every day.
Well, what does that entail? So let's say everything goes right, and it has been, and God willing, it will continue to. Let's say if today, I know today's not the day, but if they were to say, okay, 100%, we're doing it, we're starting the process today.
Yeah.
How long does that take? Do they work out of a different clinic, a different hospital
Yeah, so
system, and then build their own, or do they have to break ground?
The process has been ongoing. We're so far along. It would be within the Children's Hospital here. It's not a separate building. I get asked that a lot. It's so that's the thing about their affiliate program is it's within another hospital. So they're not building a new facility. But the great thing about that is it brings tons of funding, nothing from the taxpayer, but
Right.
a ton of funding for research and treatment.
And talent.
It brings they follow their standard of care, which is world class. And then it gives kids a pathway to Memphis if they have something that's more complex and they need to go. Like my daughters, you get straight into St. Jude in Memphis because you only can get there if you qualify for a clinical trial, live in that area of Memphis, or go through an affiliate clinic. Our closest one's in Charlotte, and I tell people that might as well be 1,000 miles away if you can't get off work.
Sure.
If you have a large family, you have other kids still in school and that sort of thing. So this brings St. Jude to Charleston, and having that pathway and no cost treatment. My daughter's had over $1 million in treatment, $1 million, and we've not got a bill ever. And
so
they
crazy.
also treat sickle cell anemia there, which will be huge for our community. And it's such a wonderful place. Every 6 months we go back for scans. It used to be every 3. And
I see.
Kinsey loves going. She gets super excited to go.
I bet.
And
She's a superstar there.
yeah, she thinks she's famous there. But she's that's what we need here. We need that here desperately. And I tell folks a lot. We don't know how many lives that this will save, but there'll be a number. And it's all because of Kinsey's journey and her testimony and her strength and her love of the Lord, and we're just so blessed to be a part of this journey with her.
It's crazy how something that you never expected will just set you on a completely different path.
Yeah, and it was so utterly devastating when we got that news. I could hardly stand up.
I'm sure.
I could speak about half the time. The other times I couldn't talk. I was just
Well, that's just you
going
normally.
Yeah, I know, right? That was going from sobbing to praying.
Yeah.
And it's been a difficult journey, but also rewarding if we can get other kids the ability to survive and thrive like she has.
Yeah.
But that's the ultimate goal.
Yeah. So, and I see, you're wearing a St. Jude's
Oh yeah,
shirt right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. I like that shirt. So okay, you got into this, you decided to get into politics specifically for that reason.
100% for that reason. That's correct.
And I've seen a lot of in the state house currently, there are a lot of people who have a similar one, have a story of like there was a thing that happened maybe with their kid, or there was a thing that happened in their life and they got involved for that reason. And I'm not trying to be rude or anything like that, but that ends up becoming their only thing that they ever push. One trick pony comes to mind, but I don't want to say it like that. This is what got you involved, but you have been working on so many other things.
Yeah.
You are one of the most conservative people in the state house. You work you work beyond the factions. I've seen that. You're respected by every faction. It's and like you said, you're on the DOT modernization, right?
Yep.
You're what are the other things that you're
So
working
I'm
there?
on the Education Committee, the K through 12 subcommittee,
Right.
and again AI and Regs, Cybersecurity Committee, and chair the Education Administrative subcommittee for that.
So all of these things that you've been doing
Mm-hmm.
and working on, you didn't need to. You could have just decided.
No, and most folks don't. So
Yeah.
most they see their committee assignment as like a burden, and I look at those as that's where the real work is, and we're able to champion a lot of things coming from the education space, just fighting for our kids and real results because we haven't had great results in the past. And, making sure that I'm pushing the right legislation. So I was a co-sponsor of the Educator Assistance Act, which
What did that do?
so it gives educators more time to review contracts. It gives them unencumbered time for lesson planning.
Okay.
It makes it to where they can't be moved. We had teachers starting at a school and then just getting transferred to a different grade, different subject, different school. So it
Like
ended
in the middle
that-
of the year, yeah.
yeah, outside of, just desperate need. And, we've raised teacher pay. In addition, I'm big as a small business owner on regulations. So co-sponsored also the Regulatory Freedom Act and have worked very hard to slash regulations that are not needed on that committee, the Regs Committee. I was co-sponsor of the fentanyl homicide bill,
Yep.
which, we've got to get that poison off our streets. But
Yeah,
there's
we've
just-
had conversations about that.
yeah, so there's just been an absolute massive number of legislative priorities that I've had, but they all tie back to public safety, education, and regulations. That's typically what I go after.
So I think that might have something to do with why I keep hearing your name when it comes to discussions about lieutenant governor. Now we've got, of course, the lieutenant governor is now, will run in conjunction with the governor,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
And we've
ticket,
got those primaries coming up, and they haven't made any decisions yet. But I keep hearing your name come up when it comes to multiple candidates. It seems like multiple candidates running for governor. Well, you're on the short list, it seems. Have you have you heard about that? Is that something-
A lot of people ask. A lot of people say that the fit would be good with this candidate or another. They haven't made those decisions yet.
Yeah.
I think as close as this race is it's going to push that timeline out a little bit.
That's
There
true.
are things that would have to be right for. First off, I got to think that they would be a great governor, but two, if that was something that I would consider, I wouldn't take a position that would be ceremonial. That just doesn't interest me at all. If I was to be asked and take that role, then I would need to be over, say, education, roads, regulations, something, and where I could make a real impact. Now,
Sure.
the other piece is that I think for gubernatorial candidates that they have to look for in a lieutenant governor is they have to find somebody that could govern on day one, just because
If something
happened.
Yeah.
And I'm well versed, and I've ran businesses, creative businesses in the middle of COVID, even that have grown to multi-million-dollar businesses, and signing that front of that paycheck is an important thing. And the state is a business; it absolutely is. And if anybody says different, they're wrong. So growing the business of South Carolina, and I don't mean growing government, I mean growing jobs and opportunities, and bringing industry and other businesses into our state or back to our state for the ones that have left. And then streamlining government. And when I say streamlining government, I don't mean just going in with a hatchet and chopping everything up. What I mean is we have so many agencies that don't need to exist because they could be part of another. Because you realize when you have a new agency, you have a whole new slew of lawyers. You have all this bureaucracy that goes with it.
And you have leaders. You have two leaders, especially if you have the two agencies that are meant to do something similar, or one's job is dependent on the other. But then you have two heads of two agencies combating each other.
Yeah, the bureaucracy of an organization when you create a new agency, there's so much bloat that you have to have. And if you streamline them and combine some of them or get rid of some that aren't necessary and eliminate regulations, not only like regulations cost money too, because we have to enforce it. We have to have oversight over these regs. And if we can streamline that stuff, we have states that are saving billions and billions of dollars by doing that. And we can emulate that here.
We don't even have to remake the wheel.
You don't. You absolutely.
It's right there.
Yes.
We already know how it spins.
Yeah.
You've got axles. You've got
exactly. So we can that wheel will still turn with a few less spokes on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're gonna be right back, and I want to get your view on the whole No Kings situation that happened. We'll talk a little bit about some national stuff going on, and international. Sarkozy's going to jail. That's crazy to me. I've never seen anything like it. French Revolution 2.0, maybe. We'll see. Hey, we'll see what happens. We'll be right back, guys.
Tired of shirts that say nothing? At ShopTruthTees.com, we say everything with satire, sarcasm, and bold pro-freedom designs that get people talking. And the best part? Every tee, ladies' V-neck, and hoodie are 100% made in the USA. Premium fabric, very comfortable, and unapologetically American. ShopTruthTees.com is a family-owned pro-America business focused on wearable truth. Order now at ShopTruthTees.com. That's ShopTruthTees.com. Use promo code Corey Allen for 15% off.
For nearly 50 years, the Real Estate School of South Carolina has helped launch thousands of real estate careers. Founded by Charles Brown and carried forward by Chip Brown, our legacy continues, now with a fresh look and even more ways to learn. Choose in-person, virtual, or self-paced classes, all with top instructors and the most complete study package anywhere. Visit realestateschoolofsc.com and start your real estate journey today.
Looking for a realtor who gets it done and actually answers her phone? Meet Christy Gore with Realty One Group Coastal. Christy is a Tri-County top producer. She works hard, keeps you informed, and knows the Charleston Tri-County markets inside and out. From Dorchester to Berkeley and everywhere in between, she's helping you buy and sell residential homes with confidence. When other agents let calls go to voicemail, Christy's picking up and already finding your next home. So don't wait. Call 843-998-8250 or go online to christyscoastalhomes.com, where local experience meets real results.
We're back with more Palmetto Talk Live. Once again, here's Corey Allen.
All right, guys, we're back with James Teeple, and we're still getting everything, still working everything out.
Little kinks, that's all right. Better than you almost locking yourself out this morning.
Well, that's true. I did do that. I'm glad you were here. I went outside. And
you know how close I was to just being like, I'm gonna ignore this and I'm gonna run the show today.
Just go live.
But I don't know what all that does. So.
Yeah, it's me neither. Right. I'm just figuring it all out. But hey, man, we're having a great time. So yeah, Sarkozy went to jail. Apparently, he took money from Libya to run his campaign in like 2007.
Yeah.
And so they're putting him in solitary confinement for 5 years.
And
in
again, he
France.
was the he was the head of France, right? He was
Yeah, he was like their president. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's President Sarkozy, bro.
That's crazy.
During for a lot of the time that Obama did a lot of work with him. He defended a lot of the Paris Climate Accord stuff was Sarkozy.
Yeah.
And he is going to solitary confinement for 5 years.
That's crazy.
I mean, at that point, it's just, hey, no, just put me in the guillotine.
Yeah,
I
man.
don't want. Can you imagine? Can you imagine solitary confinement for 5 years? Think about that.
Oh, it's a long time, man.
Dude, I can't even be alone for 2 days. If I'm alone, just cut off completely.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that type of it's strange to see that happening in Europe. Europe is a couple of years beyond us when it comes to certain things. Migrant takeovers, for example.
Yep. Well, they're regretting that now.
Yeah, well, especially France. It seems like, because you have that thing with Candace Owens, and she's going after the current president's wife, Macron. She's adamant that is a dude. She is adamant. She has receipts, and if you look at all the stuff, it sounds crazy, but anyway, it seems like a distraction for the people to send Sarkozy to solitary confinement, and it reminds me a lot of, I don't know how much you've studied like 19th century France, but
Yeah.
probably not a lot. I wear, actually, this is an 1877 20 franc coin I wear. So I've studied it quite a little bit. And this seems very, very similar to some of the things that happened there with Napoleon III and his wife. Interesting stuff.
You talk about that coin and Napoleon III. Where were you that day the Louvre got burglarized? You have an alibi for that?
If it was me, I would not have left that crown outside.
Yeah, that's probably.
They left his wife's crown outside. Oh, that would have been I would not have forgotten.
And they're back at their little hideout or whatever, and he's like, I thought you got it.
I thought you got it.
Yeah.
No, but I am helping them sell it. So
There you go. There you go.
That's that's kind of what
Yeah.
I'm here for that. I help them fence. I told them, well, that's the thing. The crown, those jewels are. You know what? Maybe Friday I'll give you guys a whole history lesson.
There you go.
Napoleon, and then the New Republic, and then
Well,
Napoleon.
don't forget you got an FBI office a floor above you.
That is true. There's
Yeah.
Maybe he and I will have a discussion later if he's watching this. The No Kings, man. No Kings protest.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the footage that
Yeah, I saw some of it. I saw your video that you put out, and the thing about it is they are most certainly free to protest. I only saw a couple of instances where things went a little haywire, but if you look at the fact that it was across the country, they were pretty peaceful, and they absolutely have the right to do that. I think that their logic is absolutely flawed when, especially a couple years ago, they wanted to kick people out of the military for not getting the vaccine. They were shutting down businesses. You had to mask, or you were an evil Nazi that didn't care about whether people lived or died, and pushed a vaccine that we've seen a multitude of problems with. And so, a few years ago, or maybe a year ago, they decided not to have a primary in a presidential election, so nobody got to vote for their candidate on the Dem side. So, I think their logic is horribly flawed.
Well, they did have a primary. Biden won it.
Yeah, but then they so they should have had a special election for that. And so they don't mind silencing those voices. So, I haven't seen any semblance of a king since Biden, but again, if they feel that way, they're more than welcome to go out and have their voices heard peacefully. But again, I just wholeheartedly disagree with their logic, and I think that if they took a good look in the mirror, they would realize that they might not have been king, but they were most certainly sitting on that court.
Oh, hey, I like that. Yeah,
I just thought of that. What do you think?
I think that's a slogan, you know, and it was interesting. One of the key things that I saw and realized while I was there was that there was no cohesive message, none. So this idea of no kings, but then when you come at them and you say, well, okay, but he won the popular vote and the electoral college, they go, well, healthcare is a human right, and well, nobody's illegal on stolen
but
land.
yeah, and
You know what I'm saying? It was this massive conglomeration of whatever liberal talking points that they could stuff into it. Nobody there had the same ideas on what they were there for.
and it lacks substance. So they're great at saying talking points and reciting headlines, but then if you ask them any questions, that it completely falls apart 99% of the time. And I've done that. I've had those conversations, and it's the same thing like river to the sea, but they don't know what river and what sea. It's just,
and they don't realize that they're speaking on behalf of genocide when they say that literal genocide.
Yeah, and now, Hamas is shooting other Palestinians in Gaza, and it's absolutely happening, and not a single person saying anything.
Yeah.
If those had been Israeli soldiers shooting them, they'd be up in arms, throwing massive fits. But if it's Hamas killing Palestinians, they're A-okay with it because it has been dead silence.
Well, and because the media and the leftists podcasters that they listen to haven't told them to be upset about it. If it was Israelis shooting them with beanbag guns, they would be crying genocide.
The last time I checked, kings aren't elected, and it was a fair election, and he won. That is absolutely what democracy is. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't make the person you disagree with a king.
Right.
And again, a long, hard look in the mirror. And if they want to go down that road and have an honest conversation, I think it was the past president and the past administration that also weaponized so much of our federal system against not just Trump, but conservatives in general, and tapping phones of sitting senators, which more is going to come out on. Like, it was a train wreck.
You know what frustrates me about that? That the tapping phones thing? Because a lot of that happened during Obama's presidency, right at the end. But then also it happened during the 2020 election.
Yeah.
Right? And that's been coming out. And some of the senators, and I'm not going to say which ones in South Carolina, there's only two, you can guess which one, they before they found out that they were being tapped, that they were being basically spied on, they were adamantly in favor of those who were coming down hard on the January 6ers and the President Trump, adamantly just for it. And then suddenly that now they find out that, oh, you guys were spying on me. Well, that's a bridge too far. You guys shutting down the bank accounts, tracking the phones of American citizens who were in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, perfectly acceptable, perfectly fine. But then they find out that they were doing it to him as well. And suddenly it's this, oh my gosh, well, this is just egregious. How dare you? That really, really bothers me because when this happens a lot with politicians, this is something I don't see with you, but it happens with a lot of elected officials. Nothing matters to them until it affects them personally. Yeah. That is one of the things where you can tell that somebody is either a public servant or out for themselves.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It makes me so angry, James.
Yeah, it's brutal, and it absolutely does happen. You're correct on that. But it's back to the No Kings thing. Yeah, do what you do. If you want to go out and protest that's fine. I just think that your message is what's been fed to you, and I think it's apparent when folks have done interviews with people that you can see how little is known about what they're protesting.
Absolutely. And guys, I'm gonna take one last break to get our sponsors in. These guys support us. You should support them. American-made products, real estate agents. If you want to be a real estate agent, a school, the real estate school of SC.com. Check them out. We will be right back after these messages to close out the show. And
Tired
we'll
of
see you
shirts that
then.
say nothing? At ShopTruthTees.com, we say everything with satire, sarcasm, and bold pro-freedom designs that get people talking. And the best part? Every tee, ladies' V-neck, and hoodie are 100% made in the USA. Premium fabric, very comfortable, and unapologetically American. ShopTruthTees.com is a family-owned pro-America business focused on wearable truth. Order now at ShopTruthTees.com. That's ShopTruthTees.com. Use promo code Corey Allen for 15% off.
For nearly 50 years, the Real Estate School of South Carolina has helped launch thousands of real estate careers. Founded by Charles Brown and carried forward by Chip Brown, our legacy continues, now with a fresh look and even more ways to learn. Choose in-person, virtual, or self-paced classes, all with top instructors and the most complete study package anywhere. Visit realestateschoolofsc.com and start your real estate journey today.
Looking for a realtor who gets it done and actually answers her phone? Meet Christy Gore with Realty One Group Coastal. Christy is a Tri-County top producer. She works hard, keeps you informed, and knows the Charleston Tri-County markets inside and out. From Dorchester to Berkeley and everywhere in between, she's helping you buy and sell residential homes with confidence. When other agents let calls go to voicemail, Christy's picking up and already finding your next home. So don't wait. Call 843-998-8250 or go online to christyscoastalhomes.com, where local experience meets real results.
We're back with more Palmetto Talk Live. Once again, here's Corey Allen.
All right, guys, and we are back for just a couple minutes. Hey, you said that you have something going on. When is an India Food Festival?
Yeah, man. So it's Indian Food Fest 2025. So it's on the 26th of October. Runs from 11 to 4 at the Scottish Rite Center on Sam Rittenberg.
Okay.
And going to be a ton of great food. It's going to be a good time. Tons of people are going to come out for that. But
It runs till when? What time?
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Yep.
till whenever?
No, 11 to 4.
11
So
a.m. to 4 p.m. Okay.
Yeah. And then, if people, please don't forget about that SCDOT meeting on November 3rd.
Yes.
At Trident, just down the road on Rivers. And, but all those events are on my Facebook page, and you can like and follow State Representative James Teeple. It's like church steeple without the S.
Yeah.
And,
James Steeple.
Yeah. So,
And they can ask you questions, right?
yeah, I respond.
Yeah. Send you a DM or.
Yeah. Or just comment on one of the posts. I
Yeah.
usually check them out. So
Do you have a website too?
I do. JamesT4SC.com.
JamesT4SC.com. I appreciate you coming in today, man. It's been we always have pretty good discussions, guys. Tomorrow I'll have Greg Ford, who's running for District 98 in the special election. He'll be joining us. We'll kind of get down to the nitty gritty of what he believes and why he thinks he should be the next state representative from District 98. We'll also have some, at least one, potentially two, of the people running for Goose Creek City Council. So that'll be fun. I really want to get back to these the interviews that I did at the No Kings protest about open borders and the abortion issue, because that's what we were talking about. At one point, somebody got very angry that I said that people born in America are better off, even if they're born in poverty in America, they're better off than 95% of people born anywhere else in the world. That's just a fact. But he called me a Nazi because I said that. And then I said, well, would you like to talk? He said, no, I don't talk to Nazis. So that was an interesting little, discussion that we had. Also, I want to get into why healthcare is not a human right. It's a positive right, and if you believe in positive rights, that means you believe in slavery. If you think that you have a right to health care, that means you believe you have a right to the work and knowledge and expertise of other people, and that you have a right to their labor to make you healthy. I just don't understand. It's that simple. but again, the left believes in slavery. They just they're very good at pretending that they believe in slavery for the right reasons. So, but we saw that during slavery, during Jim Crow. The left has always been like, oh, it's for your own good. It's for their own good. That's who they are. That's who tyrants are. And yet they have the audacity to talk to us about no kings. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and end the show. Thank you so much to my sponsors. ShopTruthTees.com. That's ShopTruthTees.com. Made in America. Go get a hoodie. Get some T-shirts, women's V-necks. 100% USA made. Good stuff. Based out of Lexington, South Carolina, too. So, yeah, support your local people. Christie's Coastal Homes. Christie's, that's Kristys. ChristiesCoastalHomes.com. Find yourself a home right here in the Low Country in the Tri-County area. And realestateschoolofsc.com. You can do online courses, and they're in Lexington as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow. There's a Reagan Gala coming up with the Charleston County Republican Party. We're going to see if we can't squeeze our way into that and hopefully have some fun there. If you haven't gotten a ticket, just go to the Charleston County Republican Party on Facebook. There's a link there. Take you right to it. Go ahead and get your ticket. They've got VIP tickets. The woman who wrote The Laptop from Hell is one of the keynote speakers. Yep. That'll be fun. You're going to be there.
I'll be there.
Yeah, man. We're going to have a good time. All right, guys. We will see you tomorrow. My name's Corey Allen. This is Palmetto Talk Live. And thanks for joining us.